Hello everybody, this is Natalie. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing my life before my autism diagnosis. As I stated before, I was undiagnosed till age 14. But today we're going to be discussing my history of epilepsy. Now, my personal type of epilepsy is partial complex seizures, or as people call them, petit mal seizures or non-convulsive seizures. You may relate epilepsy to the convulsive type of seizures, laying on the ground, and you can't snap them out of it. Well, my type is more like a staring type, where you can't snap me out of it either. But it seems like I'm just staring. In fact, the Epilepsy.com defines epilepsy as a chronic disorder, the hallmark of which is recurrent unprovoked seizures. A person is diagnosed with epilepsy if they have 2 unprovoked seizures with likelihood of more, caused by some unknown and irreversible medical condition. So seizures are more in the brain. So when you think about the way the brain works, your brain is kind of wired differently when you have epilepsy. Now, my personal history with epilepsy when I first started having seizures, they assumed I had a tumor, so to go through MRI. Once that came out negative, they eventually diagnosed me with epilepsy at age 4. Started having EEGs. So EEGs are where they put gel in your hair and cover your hair in wires and one on your heart, hook you up to a computer so it can read your brain waves and see if there's a spike. They can tell if you're having a seizure. Now, whenever I had an EEG, my mom was really sweet and would give me a gift, trying to make the miserable experience less miserable, because EEGs are not a very fun thing. So, you can try to look on the positive side of it, which I did because I knew I would get a gift. Now, some of my EEGs as I got older became more take-home, where I took them home. It was like a 2-day thing where they would see how I did during the day, because the EEGs are where they hook you up to a computer and they're like 30 minutes maybe, where they start you with blowing and flashing lights, and then they monitor you for 20 minutes. Well, that doesn't give them an accurate depiction of what's going on in your day-to-day life. So what they'll do is they'll try to see what's going on in your everyday life. So what they did for me is they gave me a video camera and I used the video camera. I turned it off when I was eating and stuff. So my mom would put a red flag whenever she thought I was having a seizure or some sort of issue, because I got a lot of headaches with those things, and it's very hard to sleep, especially since I had a bunch of wires in my head, and I had to have the light on so the video camera could see me. So that about summarizes that portion of my video. So I have this certain lazy eye where I suspect that it came from my seizures, but there's no proof of it, or one eye just has trouble seeing in general. So seizures seemed like I was staring, but it's like you can't help it. And seizures are one of those things where you're not trying to be rebellious, and that's one of the applications I'd like to give you, is that don't naturally assume that when your child's staring a lot, they're being rebellious or they're not interested. Sometimes it could be a seizure and they can't help it, like my type of seizures. I came home with mounds of schoolwork because I could never finish it in class, because by the time I woke up, class was over. So until we got my seizures under control, we had issues with that. Now, please don't be afraid of putting your child on medicine. If you're this person where you believe medicine is automatically bad because it's unnatural, that sort of thing, well, sometimes they need it. Their brain's wired differently from most people. It's the way their brain processes information. So please don't be afraid of medicine. It's best for your child to do what your child needs and not be caught up in your own belief system. Also, don't panic, please. If your child's having a seizure, the best thing for you to do is stay calm. Whether it's convulsive, which is where you should clear the area and make sure your child doesn't get hurt, probably take them to the hospital, And then with convulsive, just there's not really much you can do about non-convulsive seizures. So it's kind of like one of those things where you can't do anything about it, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't try to help in any way you can. Now for me, I told my friends that they wanted to know what to help me with, and I told them there's not really much you can do, just call my parents or something in the midst of a crisis like that. So the best thing for me to tell people who have epilepsy is don't let it define you. I did for years. I got caught up in the fact that it was a label. It made me different from everybody else, kind of like I did with my autism. Epilepsy doesn't make you who you are. It's a part of your medical diagnosis, obviously, but it doesn't define you. You're a very beautiful person who is amazing that they've overcome so much. As it's personal experience, epilepsy is one of those things where it's very hard to live through, but I made it, and so can you. Because one of those things I've learned over the years is that you can't let things pull you to keep you down. You have to push through it. So, finally, above all, avoid flashing lights, obviously, if you can, because flashing lights can provoke seizures, so please don't put a bunch of flashing lights in your Christmas tree if you have epilepsy or something. Please be careful with movies that have flashing lights or video games. Although most people love video games, sometimes those can affect people with epilepsy from what I've read. So, also, parents should make sure that they are attending to their child's needs and wishes, and that no matter what happens, you put your child first over your beliefs, like I said before. So above all, learn to understand your epileptic child. If not epilepsy, try to find the cause. And sometimes seizures can appear due to some medical condition or a head injury. Sometimes it's genetic though. Like for me, no one in my recent family history has had epilepsy. So we don't really know where my epilepsy came from. It's supposed to be genetic if you don't have a head injury or something. So my biology professor told me that it's probably some sort of mutation where I'm the first person to have that mutation. So we don't know what's going to happen to my kids. But I'm hoping they don't have to go through the same thing I did, although I would still love and cherish them no matter what. So, yeah. That is about it for today. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel and continue to support me and keep watching my videos, as I'm doing this to help people ultimately. Not for my own fame and glory, but to help people understand disabilities, especially girls with autism, better. Thanks. Bye.